I'm influenced heavily by the Beatles because of the way they decided to do things. I mainly listen to drum and bass, but I do listen to every genre possible because I love music. With the Beatles, though, it's different. They were the first people, as far as I'm aware, to start crossing genres together. Songs like Norwegian Wood and Within You Without You are prime examples of this, where they introduced Indian instruments like the sitar to completely change the way they sounded. Paul McCartney, a man who never wanted to play the bass, decided to incorporate styles of funk and blues from those who influenced him. People also forget that Helter Skelter is probably the first glimpse of future heavy metal, with a screaming vocal and heavy guitar riff. I just love the fact that the 60s was the start of a whole new world, with the hippies, clothing, and the use of drugs coming into play. Yet, the Beatles didn't fit into any category at all. They were just the Beatles. They had some serious balls to do what they did, and I love the fact that they just didn't care. Easily one of the greatest bands ever, and will continue to be until the end of the world.
So the first time I remember listening to the Beatles was when my dad came home from work after buying a red and blue album for £1 from somebody at work. And these CDs were very much used on lots of occasions. So when we went on family trips, we'd listen to both of the albums relentlessly. And then later in life, I kind of had my own rediscovery. And after that, it kind of boomed into a collection of wanting original records, memorabilia. And it's just a nice hobby to have because it's a representation of British music.
The first time I heard them would have been in primary school. Didn't know it was the Beatles. But I remember we used to sing Yellow Submarine, and when I'm 64 it's singing time. Then I started to learn the guitar at 14. I went in wanting to be all Brian May, and by the second lesson I was given Let It Be to try and learn. My uncle then made me a mixtape of them, and that tape changed my life. It was a varied mix of all their catalogue. After that, it was Beatles every day for me for the next 5 years. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating. I started collecting all the vinyls, and then in '96, I think they started to air the anthology series, and that coincided with Oasis going on about them, and boom, everybody was into them. But I was a few years before all people my age.
The Beatles have influenced me because the transitions that they've made through music, they've gone through suit and tie, playing guitar, to wearing a weird outfit with weird synthesizers and pianos, to back to suit and tie and back again, and then they've gone through their drug phase where they've just created weird music, and they've just influenced so many people as they've done so many different phases of music that I was bound to get attached to one of their phases.
I remember in year 5 my teacher was a massive Beatles fan and put on We Can Work It Out and Yesterday, and we had to write down how it made us feel and what we imagined when we heard them. Then he told us they were by the same artist. When I hear them, it always makes me think back to primary school and hearing them for the first time.